Hey everyone, this is Kevin T. Rodriguez, film critic of iCritic.net, and oh boy, it has begun. MoviePass's former chairman, Ted Farnsworth, has been arrested. And he, as well as former MoviePass CEO Mitch Lowe, have been charged, and they face criminal fraud charges. So, this was probably something that was inevitable. Now, for those of you who remember my old MoviePass videos, you know that I said that I believed it was a good investment. There's a reason I always told people, don't spend any money you're not willing to lose. This is my personal opinion, and I was wrong on that personal opinion, and that might be why I am going back to talking about movies and services rather than giving out financial advice. Not that I was ever giving out financial advice, I've made that very clear. But yeah, one of the reasons the stock really didn't do well is because I was believing things that they were saying, like that the company was sustainable, that they had enough subscribers to make the $9.99 thing work. I kind of did the loops in my head. I kind of believed it, to be honest. And it turned out I was naive, and I shouldn't have believed it, because they were giving out wrong information. Basically, the U.S. Department of Justice investigated MoviePass, and they decided that they were giving out false information. They were lying. They were doing smoke and mirrors to get investor money that they knew was basically going to be pissed away in the wind. And that's where we are today, where Ted Farnsworth has been arrested. And I guess Mitch Lowe won't be too far behind. So let's look at this article from Fortune. Ted Farnsworth, the former chairman of the once viral movie theater subscription service MoviePass, was arrested Friday in connection to criminal charges filed by the U.S. Department of Justice, according to court documents obtained by Fortune. The documents, which were filed in a federal court in Florida last week, show that arrest warrants were issued on November 2nd for both Farnsworth, 60, and his former business partner, Mitch Lowe, 70, who was the former CEO of MoviePass. Well, on a personal note, I guess that means Mitch Lowe won't be coming on our live stream anytime soon. The documents state that Farnsworth was arrested on November 4th, so I'm a little late on this, in Washington, D.C. Both executives were indicted last week for allegedly engaging in a scheme to artificially inflate the price of MoviePass's parent company, Helios and Matheson, in order to attract new investors. If convicted, the men face a maximum penalty of 20 years in prison for each count of fraud of which they are accused. 1 count of securities fraud and 3 counts of wire fraud. It is unclear from court records whether Lowe has also been arrested by authorities at this time, and he could not be reached for comment via his personal website or through his speaking agency. The documents show that Farnsworth is being represented by George Terwilliger III, who was nominated Deputy Attorney General of the Department of Justice in 1992 under President George H.W. Bush. Terwilliger, is that Wilger or Williger? I don't know. Didn't respond to an immediate request for comment. Over the weekend, a spokesperson for Farnsworth told CBS News that the former executive's legal team plans to contest the allegations in the indictment until his vindication is achieved. Movie theater subscription service company MoviePass had sought to revolutionize the there's spelling errors in this Fortune article. The movie industry by offering a low-cost subscription service that enabled users to see nearly unlimited films for a monthly fee. During its prime, MoviePass drew in 3 million customers who were paying $9.95 a month to be able to see one movie in theaters every single day. Meanwhile, MoviePass's parent company was raking up significant losses and ended up filing for bankruptcy in 2020. One of MoviePass's co-founders, Stacy Spikes, who we did have on this channel, and we did a nice little interview with him, who has not yet been named in any criminal charges. Well, I don't think Stacy Spikes is going to be named because he was fired from the company, so he didn't have anything to do with some of these charges. And he purchased back assets. So the Department of Justice has accused Farnsworth and Lowe of allegedly defrauding investors through materially false and misleading representations during their time running the first iteration of MoviePass. For example, in April 2018, Farnsworth and Lowe allegedly fraudulently represented that MoviePass's $9.95 unlimited plan was tested, sustainable, and would be profitable, or break even with subscription fees alone, according to the DOJ. Farnsworth and Lowe allegedly made false claims that Helios and Matheson possess and use technologies like big data and artificial intelligence platforms to generate revenue by analyzing and monetizing the data MoviePass collected from subscribers. At the time, Helios and Matheson, a publicly traded company, was regulated by the SEC. MoviePass these days is a private company. In addition, Farnsworth and Lowe are accused of making materially false or misleading representations in press releases, SEC filings, and media interviews. Guy, your fortune, spell check your articles. I have a stuttering problem. What's your excuse? Anyway, though there was also an arrest warrant issued for Lowe, he has not yet turned himself in or has been arrested per the latest filings obtained by Fortune. In a separate case, the men also face charges from the SEC for allegedly making materially false or misleading statements concerning key aspects of MoviePass's business model. Trial attorney Christopher Fenton of the Criminal Division's Fraud Section is prosecuting the fraud charges in the Department of Justice criminal case, and the FBI's New York field office is investigating. Quote, as alleged, the defendants deliberately and publicly engaged in a fraudulent scheme designed to falsely bolster their company's stock price, Michael J. Driscoll, assistant director in charge of the FBI New York field office, said in a statement. Farnsworth is scheduled to appear in U.S. District Court in D.C. on November 17th, according to court records. So, I would not be surprised if Farnsworth and Lowe go to jail. I think they made some very big mistakes, willing big mistakes. I think Ted Farnsworth is the more guilty one. This guy has created and destroyed more companies than you and I have probably had jobs. This is just a fact. He's always raising money for product endeavors, and they always fail, and he ends up walking away with the investors' money, and he forms another company. That's what he does. And I think the reason he finally got bit by this one is because, unlike most of his endeavors, MoviePass actually got center stage in the media. People liked MoviePass. Regular people invested in MoviePass. And as a result, regular people got screwed, and this particular case was put under a stricter microscope. Now, as for Lowe, he at the very least was compliant. And there are stories that he himself personally ordered things like changing users' passwords to make it difficult to use the service. Now, he has released a book recently. I still want to do a kind of review of that book, a listen along, but I've kind of been told that it might be a copyright issue, so I kind of have to do it carefully if we do it. I'm kind of looking at my options on that one. So I think Lowe might not get as much time in jail, especially since his book does highlight a couple deals that he could have made that could have potentially saved MoviePass, the company that Ted Farnsworth basically vetoed in favor of diluting the stock more and selling more shares. In fact, MoviePass investors basically had a nickname for this process. Whenever MoviePass reported more losses, they said, well, time to go to the ATM again. And the ATM was basically issuing new shares of stock to sell to people on Robinhood and Webull. So, it was pretty scuzzy one way or the other. Now, it should be noted that MoviePass assets have been bought back by Stacy Spikes. I did an interview with him. You can watch it at the link above. It's a little long, but I think it's definitely worth checking out. And Spikes strikes me as a much more honorable person. They are launching the MoviePass subscription slowly. They started in 3 markets, although they've added a 4th market. So Chicago, residents, you have a chance to subscribe to MoviePass again. I'm still waiting for LA. Like, come on, Stacy. Don't make me wait too much longer, but they seem to be taking a much more cautious approach. Their plan sounds a little bit better. I don't know if MoviePass is ever going to be the size it was before. I just like MoviePass because it's like, and the way that I do this, and some people might not do it this way, but the way I do it is I like to subscribe to all the movie subscriptions. And if I'm getting enough movie tickets to cover all of them, then it doesn't matter if 1 or 2 of them doesn't get used that month. it's considered coming out ahead of the game. And that's where MoviePass will be put in. I will primarily probably use it for Netflix movies and Amazon movies at the South Coast Plaza in Costa Mesa, or one of the Lemley theaters. I think that's where I will primarily use the new MoviePass. But, you know, there will probably be months where I don't use it and I pay for it, and that's kind of where the model needed to be the whole time. Now, who knows how regular people use MoviePass? That's a topic for another day. In the meantime, for those of you who felt that you got ripped off by the former MoviePass management, including my dad, arrests have been made, and we will just keep following the story to see if they actually go to jail or not. So anyway, that is the end of that story. What do you think? Do you think this is long overdue? Do you think they are going to get the justice that we deserve? I'd love to know. Comment below. Like, favorite, share, subscribe. And as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.